Melbourne for the launch of the League One and Championship seasons. But the club, on the lips of everyone, they weren't here today. That's Salford. They're currently sorting out perhaps a new owner and the opportunity to compete in Super League this year and not have to sell players. The CEO of the Rugby Football League, Tony Sutton, he held a bit of a round table with journalists and we ran a camera on that. And I started off by asking Tony what the latest was for Salford.
Yeah, so we're obviously aware and up to date with the conversations with potential new owners. We've kept Super League clubs particularly up to date over the last couple of weeks. We remain hopeful of a positive outcome for the club.
Well, at what point will they have to sell players? I mean, it keeps being put back each day, it seems to be anyway. At what point is it D-Day, you know?
Well, those decisions are up to the club to make. We're across the position that they are. We're across and updated on their potential new ownership conversations. And as I say, we hope for a positive outcome, but those decisions are for the club to take.
What can you tell us about the prospective new owners?
Any offer or any conversations are currently confidential. Again, for a club transaction, that would be for the club to update. Our role in that transaction would be, as it is with any change of ownership, fit and proper owners' tests or directors' tests, and the RFL board approves any change of control at any club. As we've done a couple of times this season already, that would be the extent of our role in that transaction.
One last one for me. What are the chances that Super League will kick off with 11 teams?
We're working on the fixture list as it is, and that Super League kicks off with 12 teams.
Now, Tony was also asked if Salford was to drop out of the Super League season, which kicks off in less than a month, whether a team from the Championship would come up and replace them.
We're working on business as usual, but as you would expect of a governing body, yes, we've scenario planned.
Have you had Championship clubs express that they'd be willing to step up and are ready to step up if they needed to?
We've scenario planned, but I'm not going to go into any more details.
And Tony was also asked about Rob Hicks, a staff member and former international referee who is currently suspended, and there is an investigation of some sort going on. Here's what he had to say about that.
It would be entirely inappropriate for me to comment on HR issues in this type of forum.
Can you confirm he's still suspended?
It would be entirely inappropriate for me to comment on HR issues in this type of forum.
And of course, the other club that everyone's talking about, the other club that is likely to have a change of owner very, very shortly, is the London Broncos. And the Leeds Chief Executive, Gary Hetherington, getting involved in finding them new investors. And Tony Sutton was also asked about that.
Nothing more than has already been in the media and conversations that have already been had. And much like the Salford situation, we massively value London Broncos in our competitions. And we're hopeful of a positive outcome for them and aware of the challenges that they faced.
For someone like Gary Hetherington to put his experience and time into reviving London Broncos, what are your thoughts on that?
I think Gary's experience over, 26, 27 years, of course, not just at the Rhinos, but prior to that as coach, player, etc. That experience is incredibly valuable. He's been on a long and significant journey with Leeds Rhinos, and I think that's very valuable and positive for the sport for Gary to be involved at whatever level in the situation or the project that the London Broncos currently are.
I also had the chance to speak to Mike Eccles, the coach of the London Broncos. A lot of things uncertain or unclear about the situation with that club. Here's a few questions I put to Mike Eccles. What was your reaction when you first heard Gary Hetherington wanted to help the club?
Yeah, good. We've, just to be clear, we have had help and a tap on the shoulder from 3 big clubs who've said, we're here to help you. Wigan have just done some business with us for a couple of players that will help us. They were really adamant on supporting us and making sure we got through this tough time. Hull KR have tapped on the shoulder and said, let us know, what you need really. Early doors in terms of players, so they've supported us in that way. And Gary and Leeds have supported us in trying to secure some investment, which it gives us all a bit of confidence really, because he's classically the best administrator, off-field operator in the game, isn't he? So he's got the biggest contact pool. So to have Leeds and Gary supporting us through that it's huge for us. Yeah.
It's not going to be London. It's not going to be Brisbane Broncos. So, who is it going to be? Do you have any information on that?
No, not at all. And it won't be it'll likely not be any one single group at all. I'm not entirely sure where the Brisbane stuff came from. They've obviously distanced themselves rightly, quite unfair on them really, the way that came out, but that's not the case. It will more than likely be more of a consortium of investors, but that's TBC as well. We have a couple of different options on the table to look at, but ideally we would have a series of owners and investors.
And what impact does that have on your playing list?
Oh, huge, because we don't have any money to spend. So we've secured what we can. We will strengthen. Players will come available. Are there many right here, right now? No, but we won't panic. We will use what we've got at our disposal. We've gone into the London areas. We've got no players, so what do? You use your own players that are in the area. They're playing SCL, some former League One players in there from Scholars, and that's how it should be. We're on the floor. We've gone back to our roots with the kits. Said this is who we are. Hopefully promote the best kit sales. That's the Fulham jersey. That's, other than the quarter shirt we had last year, that's probably the best or most recognised away shirt that we've had. Gone back to our roots with that, and then the same with players. We haven't got any players. Use the players that are around us, and that's the club I want us to be.
You say it will be a consortium. Has anything come through yet? Has any funding come through yet? Are you able to spend more on players than you could last week, or the week before that, or the week before that?
No. So we've still pretty much running our own ship in terms of what we're bringing in, what we're generating, and we've stabilised through that way. So to answer the question directly, no, there hasn't been investment coming yet, and we have some decisions to make around that. But I think the process will be ongoing. I don't think it's going to be a David Argyle's taking over tomorrow, and that's the owner, that's the investment. This is how much we've got to spend. I think it will be a slow build, and decisions to make for us really as a leadership group.
What are those decisions?
Oh, who we go with. The vision has to be. My vision is Super League. Jason's vision is Super League. We've killed ourselves to get in a position where we got to. We got up on merit. We've then had a really tough year, but we've still got up to over 12.5 points in the IMG rating. We're not too far away. We can't step back now. That is my strong opinion on that. So what investors, what leadership can support that vision is a primary focus for me.
And what about the ground you play at? Is that set in stone?
For me, absolutely, yeah. It's the perfect Super League stadium for the IMG criteria. It's fantastically well serviced. You look at all the grounds we've had some fantastic grounds. I'm not sure any of them have probably been as well serviced as this one. In terms of the Thames link, in terms of the underground, overground situations that you've got, in terms of your access from Waterloo, St Pancras, it's amazing, really. So the capacity, the ability to grow there, I think it's the perfect stadium. Jason thinks the same thing too. We're tied into an agreement with them. I say tied, that sounds bad, doesn't it? We're thankful in agreement with them, and also they understand our journey, right? They were a club that were dead, if you like, and they've rose from the ashes, so they understand our position, and they've supported us as well.
Last question on that. You said that you and Jason have to make some decisions about who you go with. How many shooters are there?
Probably can't disclose that right now. We've got realistically, we've got a couple of options on the table. Is right now. Right now, throughout the period, we've had 5 or 6 people express interest, and some it just wasn't right, some didn't come to the table after initially proposing their interest and their ideas. We've a couple of options.
And what's the timetable in deciding?
There isn't one really. We need cash quickly to recruit, but at the same time, I think with the plan to build and grow off the field, in terms of investment as well, stabilise and get some money through the door is a priority, but that won't determine necessarily which route we go. The end vision and goal has still got to be that we get to Super League within hopefully 2 years' time, and we fulfil all the holes in the IMG criteria that the club currently have.
And finally, the big London Broncos forward Sadique Adabi. I asked him what the secret is to making rugby league a success in the capital. Thanks for joining us on rugbyleaguehub.com's YouTube channel, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
The secret for me as a player from London is just getting as much players from London playing the sport. Like you said, it's a majority northern sport, but there's so much talent and players down south that if we can tap into that and get a lot of players coming through the youth system and eventually through the first team, I think that will put us in good stead for the future.